the second time Lime Rock Park has been a presence here at Formula V, and still the very short road course that has not changed in layout since 1954, provided with the addition of a couple of chicanes, has still provided some thrilling racing since then. It provided an exciting race the last time we were here. We expected to provide an entertaining race now that we return. It's RaceSpotTV, Friday night prime time for round number 10 of the iRacing Formula V series. My name is Lorenzo. I've got Lorenzo Bonner beside me in the commentary booth with Connor and Maddie down behind the cameras for tonight's presentation. Should be an entertaining race, just like the Indy Pro 2000 series. We get set to kick off the final quarter on the season. First to run at Lime Rock Park before jumping back over to Summer Point for the Jefferson Circle, Lorenzo, before we finish things off in Australia at Oran Park.
It's going to be interesting as we go on our second trip towards Lime Rock. I think the fact that we got the chicanes this time by instead of the normal NASCAR-esque layout that we probably had on week 5 is going to be bringing a little bit more of a challenge towards the drivers. So it's going to be an interesting one. How they're going to tackle the chicanes in these low-power cars.
Now, of course, with this chicanes layout, it's worth noting that that does say chicanes. That is not a typo. Not only are we using the uphill chicane that a lot of people have been accustomed to ever since iRacing repurposed that corner, doing the rescan of Lime Rock Park, we are also utilizing the West Bend chicane, a corner that I have never actually seen being used, Lorenzo, in any official series before. I have not even raced on it myself, even in a testing session. So to see how these Formula Vs will tackle it, it should be interesting. It's a lot tighter than, of course, the typical corner you see there. You actually overshoot the penultimate corner, which would normally finish off the lap on the on the regular road course, and then you duck back around and then cut back into the track. So it's a much slower final corner than we're used to seeing. It should make it a pretty entertaining race, though, honestly. It is an extra pass opportunity that could be utilized big time in the Vs.
It's going to be an interesting corner because if we're talking about more high-powered cars, it's a corner that is very easy for you to miss, especially that entry. The entry is a highly tricky one for you to nail it, but the exit is complicated because the exit you cannot cut too much the inside part of the turn. If you cut way too much, you want to be aggressive and try to save time, you actually get an off track, and sometimes you even get a cut and have to get a slow down penalty. So how the approach this, it's going to be a very interesting one because these cars, they don't have too much power. So I think it is more like in terms of technique and how much speed you bring towards that corner as you guys are going to see it right now.
On board with Felix Samoes, and look at just how tight this section of the track is. It's a very difficult place, especially on the exit of the West Bend chicane, to really go side by side through there. So I think trying to go for a crossover, a little bit of an ask. But however, that being said, when you dive it in throughout that final corner, also known as the diving turn for a reason, it is definitely going to be a place to watch out for, especially with we could see some drag races out for position down in the start-finish line.
Yeah, and this basically is our main passing opportunity, as we probably had in week 5. Of course, it is a more wide open race. You're basically within the draft of the other driver for basically the majority of the lap, and you have a few opportunities here and there, but because of the chicanes, I think it brings something more spicy into the mix, and especially this last West Bend chicane is going to be a tricky one because we can see some moves being made over there. So it's going to be an interesting race to watch as we see Nicholas Ernst finish up his lap.
Nicholas Sanchez Ernst already has both laps completed. He is just at the moment out there running some extra practice laps. Now, unfortunately for him, both laps were invalidated, so he will not be able to log a time in today's 11-car field. Adinko Lopez currently on pole position, but I'm more honestly impressed with Garvid Agrawal's time out there because it is a 109.000. How difficult is that, Lorenzo, to get a time that is right on the second mark without even a thousandth of a second out of place as he just bumps that time up?
Yeah, it takes some skills, for you to get a flat time. But I think someone got bumped at the very, very tail end of the lap. So as we're going to go into the grid and try and find out who it is.
Jacopo Lopez out there on pole position with Felix Samoa's pipping Agrawal at the line, just a tenth faster. Is going to put Samoa's up there on the front row. It's going to be Garvin Agrawal down in third place, half a second behind Jacopo Lopez, with Jan-Philipp Janke down in fourth. Federico Castellari in fifth, with Alan DeGassis in sixth. Sergio Jimenez is in seventh, with Duncan Murray in eighth. Nicholas Sanchez Ernst in ninth, with Andreas Lebois in 10th. Peter Chicane rounds out the 11-car field for today's race. Just waiting on one more driver to grid up here, Lorenzo. Should be a fun one.
Should be a fun one. We saw that Lime Rock last time by was a banger to watch, so I expect to see the same kind of race, of course, with a few more corners in here.
I believe just waiting on Jan-Philipp Janke to work his way up in here before we get this race underway. Should be an interesting race, I think, to say the very least. It's an unusual layout, a layout that we've ever seen before on RaceSpotTV. I know I certainly have never seen it before, even in iRacing as a whole. So that's going to be definitely something to watch out for. Still waiting on the one driver to grid it up, and I wonder if he might take the strategy starting from pit road, maybe to avoid the first lap carnage.
It's going to be interesting to see how that one is going to go, because unlike what we see, there's not too much carnage.
Well, he has gridded up, so we are getting ready to go. The revs build on up, and we're underway for round 2 here at Lime Rock Park. Round 10 of the iRacing Formula V Series underway. Jacopo Lopez with a decent jump off the line. Going to tuck in with Felix Samoas and Garvin Agrawal out there as they run down towards turn number 1. Now, having a car downshift from the second to spin around is not an uncommon sight in turn 1. For the first time all season long, though, nobody will make that mistake. We're single file and clean out to the first couple of corners.
Yeah, as now we're going to see what the Chicane brings into this first running of the race, as they're going to go and reach that chicane right now. Who will be courageous to make a move down there?
Castellari thought about it, was on the inside of Jan-Philipp Janke in the straight before, but decided against it. Going to try to go for it again in the run down towards the West Bend chicane for the first time today. So Castellari wants to make up time and make his way up in the 4th place. This time he will be able to go down the inside into the West Bend chicane, up in front as well, battling for second place. Agrawal trying to cut back from Samoas on the exit of the West Bend chicane and the run down to the diving turn.
Yeah, I think Simone's actually broke off a little bit in the entry of the last chicane, as Lopez just up a huge cushion on everybody else, but here comes Agrawal on the inside.
Battle for second is on, 2 wide, several rows deep just in behind these guys. Everybody's double wide, coming down into turn number 1 for the second time today. Jacopo Lopez already clean out in front by over a second. It's set to be another dominating run for Lopez. Looking for the back of the field. DeGassis under fire from Andreas Lebois. Lebois goes through. Sanchez Ernst goes through as well. And it looks like DeGassis is falling back in a hurry.
Yeah, but everybody else kind of like tucked in one behind another. Even though you're making some small mistakes here and there, you're not losing a whole lot of time. I think only the top 3 have been consistently fast and been keeping relatively close to Lopez, even though he already opened up a huge cushion on them. But look at this final right in the back of the pack, because I think we've seen 2 wide going to the West Bend.
Federico Castellari tried to make a move up there on Felix Samoas through the middle of the West Bend chicane. Didn't quite work out for him. There was one driver that you saw drop back the order. That was Lebois. Had a bit of an off through the uphill bend chicane. Didn't go for a full spin, but just cut the track a little bit. Hacked the server time with a slowdown penalty. But look at Jan-Philipp Janke trying to fight the outside line from Federico Castellari down to the turn number 1. Castellari's not going to fight this one back. He is going to fight this one back, and he spins into the zone. The 7-car around, Janke around, just up the road. They both spin out in their own battle. Neither of them have been in contact.
One more off.
Also around just in behind them. You got Chicane off the road. Calamity on lap 3 in the first quarter.
Who would have thought that this could have happened? Of course, it is easy for you to overdrive this car in the back, kind of drifts away from you, and it's not an easy car to catch, as we're going to look on the replay. Castellari's car just getting way too loose in the entry, and then you can see also Janke's car just clipping the grass, and if it clips the grass is lava on iRacing. You can see Jimenez just falling off as well. One more driver too.
Yeah, that was Jimenez in the white car that just came up behind it. That was Peter Chicane that ended up having to go into the grass to avoid Jimenez as he came back up onto the track. Good avoidance from a lot of the drivers there, though. That could have been a lot worse. That has split the field up significantly as a result. This battle for second, though, still nice to try with Samoa's back down the inside of Agrawal in the run down to turn 1.
And unless he's going to have the advantage coming over here, as Coba Lopez does it in the second time in a row. Did the best lap of the race with a 1:08.644. As Simoes manages to retake P2 out of Garbett Agrawal in turn number 1 and 2.
Good news is, it looks like despite the 4 cars going off, there are still quite a few battles around the track. You got second to third, that's looking tied. 5th and 6th is still close. You've got Janky and Diamandis still battling, even though both of them spun around just 1 lap ago in the same corner nonetheless. So Agrawal will definitely be trying to hunt down Felix Samoes here. It's a battle to watch out for. You can there just see the battle for 5th and 6th just coming over the crest in Luau and DeGassis as well. Not side by side yet, but you can tell they're not going to waste any time in getting alongside if they can help it.
No, not at all. And because here's the thing, Ernst is not being able to close anything whatsoever in both drivers, so they can duke it out as much as they want, and they still would be ahead of Nicholas unless a catastrophe happens, and then Nicholas Ernst actually comes closer and challenges the position away from them. As I think Lopez just did the fastest lap once again.
DeGassis making up the spot on Andreas Luau, going defensive now into turn number 1 with Luau trying to fight the outside line. DeGassis kind of cuts across his line, and he's going to almost run the 8 car into the grass. Luau might not be a happy camper about that one. Tries to go for the over-under through turn 2, but just not close enough to have the look through. Maybe down for the uphill chicane, though.
Yeah, let's look if he's going to get a run going to the chicanes, but it doesn't look like that the Gasses is going to be able to make that overtake. Here they come closer to one another, and so far, Laval is not going to be able to make that move.
Already over half of the race complete, and you got all these battles still yet to be decided. Just coming up on that 6-minute mark now of this 12-minute race. The Wow off course on the exit of the West Bend chicane over into the grass on the right side of the racetrack. That kind of puts him offline for the diving bend turn, but into this Formula V cars, not really something he's got to worry about. Going to pull to the left side, and DeGassis now, he's going to be a sitting duck.
And DeGassis is going to be a sitting duck, but does he go deep into the break as Agrawal does the best lap of the race so far, stealing that from Coba Lopez with a 1:08.479, and in the meanwhile, Laval manages to make that overtake on the outside. DeGassis
trying for the inside maybe through turn 2, but he was never realistically going to make that pass work. He should have just tucked in the line a little while. He's lost a lot of time as a result of trying to maybe make that pass work. It really wasn't really close to ever coming to fruition there. That leaves battle for P2 and P3 while we wait for 5th and 6th to close on up just a little bit more. Samoas and Agrawal going through the West Bend chicane, still single file, but both drivers definitely on the hunt for each other as we take a ride on board here through the West Bend chicane with DeGassis.
Yeah, because it looks like Laval actually got a little bit wild into the turtle curb chicanes. The turtle curbs and the chicanes, and the car jumped a little bit, so I thought he would actually lose time in there as we look to change into P2 one more time.
We talked about getting a bit too over-aggressive and cutting the course. That's exactly what Samoas did right there. Cut the corner, 2 times the exit of the chicane, all 4 tires off, and over half the car in the grass. That is what allowed Felix Samoas to have to yield to Garmin Agrawal to let the number 6 car through. And it's put Samoas with quite a bit of work to do if he wants to try to run down second place once more, while 5th and 6th looking to tango once again.
Yeah, because the Gasses manages to get the position back from Laval on the start finish line, but look at Laval again. Basically, I'm trying to find the best definition here, Nolan. Can you say wing to wing, or is that a bumper to bumper, or nose to tail?
I'd say nose to gearbox. That's a fair assumption.
Fair point.
Lowell going to pull to the left side through the diving turn. In most cars, you don't go side by side through here. The Formula Vs are not one of them. Andres Lowell over to the left side. DeGassis on the right. Lowell with a better run, with a small bit of drive from Nicholas Sanchez Ernst as well. The battle for P2 still raging on up the road. No change of position up there just yet. DeGassis Still trying to fight back as Lowell tries to pull the outside line through turn 1. Can the 8 car get the overspeed in the run from 1 to 2? He cannot.
He cannot whatsoever. So good hold from the gases over here as Laval trying to make that overtake on the outside. Sometimes that outside line is really good, but you kind of need a really good run in between 1 and 2, specifically the portion that leads you off to 2 and 3. But unfortunately, Laval didn't have that. And meanwhile, Agrawal manages to overtake Simoes on the entry of turn number 1.
The 8 car still looking tight, trying to run down the number 3 car of Alan DeGassis. Simoes, like you said, having dropped back out of P number 2, will stick with this battle. The reasoning for that, though, missed a shift on the uphill chicane, and that allowed Agrawal to pull away. Lowell, though, is on the hunt. The number 8 car trying to run down Alan DeGassis, pulling the outside again. 2.5 minutes to go. This time, Lowell is deeper on the brakes and carrying the momentum around the outside line. DeGassis has the shorter groove, though, and is still trying to fight back, so they're still side by side between turns 1 and 2, but just there, Lowell breaks ahead.
Yeah, and it does look like this will come down to the wire. Maybe a photo finish. Let's hope, because this probably has been the best battle we probably had in the field aside the P1, P2 battle. Sorry, P2, P3 battle, but that unfortunately broke away because I think Simoes actually got us slowed down somewhere, and the gap actually widened to about a second.
It's also the battle for 9th and 10th that is actually looking just as close to this one, even closer than that, as a matter of fact. John Philip Janke looking to the inside of Peter Chain, out of the uphill chicane and the run down to West Bend. See it if maybe the number 4 car can try to work its way further on up there. Gonna make that easy pass there down into the West Bend chicane. Peter Chain, he let him have it.
Yeah, I think Chain didn't want to battle over there way too much as he let the young kid just go by, as we see the gap between Agarwal and Simoes. Well, it was right about a second, so something might have happened to Agrawal, allow Simoes to come closer and then can recontest for that P2 spot, as they have about 2 laps to go here in the Lime Rock Chicane circuit. So it's going to be keep time for Simoes to get closer and then contend for that move.
It's just the draft. That's how he's able to close out so much time. And look at how fast he closes up to Agrawal on the entry to the uphill chicane. The draft is so powerful in these cars. It's been something we've been talking about all season long, and it's why Alton Park Fosters was such a beautiful race, was because they could get so close. Thanks to the draft, nobody was able to break away. With these chicanes, though, you are able to break away somewhat. That's why Adecobo Lopez has been pulling it out a 5-second gap. Coming around now to take that white flag now. Agrawal under fire from Simoes in the run for the 2nd position, coming up on the final lap of the race. And so far, Simoes has got the overspeed.
Yeah, but it all comes down to turn number 1. Let's see if Agrawal is going to outbreak him into turn number 1. No, lifts off the gas, trying to be safe, trying to maybe set up for that final corner move on Simoes, as we're probably going to have a photo finish between these 2 drivers. And meanwhile, Laval managed to overtake the gases, and now the gases has to fight back in this final lap.
Last lap of the race, you can see not a lot between them, about half a car length down between these 2 drivers. Agrawal trying to close it on Simoes into the uphill chicane. No die, Simoes kind of clips the sausage grip to the uphill chicane. That kind of sets the 2 car off balance and allows Agrawal to close on in. I don't think it'll be close enough to have a look at the West Bend chicane. Through that downhill diving bend, though, absolutely he can have a chance at going for the win. Out of the West Bend chicane is the battle for P2 and P3. Out of the final corner is Adecobo Lopez. He is going to come home and take another commanding victory. The iRacing Formula V Series behind. The drag race for 2nd is on. Agrawal with the run, trying to fend off Felix Simoes and gets him at the line. Garvin Agrawal moves up to 2nd place. Felix Simoes has to settle for 3rd. What a run in the battle for P2 and P3. The other battles so far splitting on off as the field kind of splits apart, but Adecobo Lopez taking yet another commanding victory. How many times has Lopez won this season? He has won. We're talking 3/4 of the season at best here at the moment. I mean, he has just been on fire all season long. once again proving why he's one of the best drivers out there in the field. What a race.
What a race. And again, we talked about so many times on Cobo Lopez's skills with these low power cars, as he is a former Skippy champion in the 2K World Cup champion series. So it proves why he's probably one of the best. I would rate maybe top 3 in low tier cars in iRacing right now.
With 11 laps complete around the Lime Rock Chicane circuit, we'll take a look now at your official post-race results from round 10 of the iRacing Formula V series. It is Ade Cobo Lopez, once again, with a very well-deserved victory in the #1 machine. Finishing it out, fastest lap on the night as well. I mean, what a run for Ade Cobo Lopez, getting that fast lap with a 109.455. It's oh, check that. Felix Samoa's a lap 7 with a 108.366. Just barely beat out Lopez. Gravita Grau going to be in second place with Samoa's. Unfortunately, all the way down in third, just barely being outdragged by a Grau at the line. Nicolas Sanchez Ernst is in fourth, with Andres Lawal in fifth. Out of the Gassis is 6th with Federico Castellari in 7th. John Philip Janke is in 8th with Peter Chain 9th. Sergio Jimenez rounding out the top 10 with a lonely Duncan Murray all the way down in the order. What a drive. What a drive for everybody out there in the field.
Now, what a drive for everybody in the field. And the funny thing is, the fastest lap of the race, it came when Simons actually got overtaken by Agarwal on turn 1. So even though he had the fastest lap of the race, it didn't work at the end of the day because he got overtaken by his competitor. And it was one of those things, you know, that it's a glory in the middle of this maze. So regardless, he still got podium spots, and I can't wait to see what the next weeks will bring.
It'll be an entertaining race as well. Of course, Summer Point Jefferson Circuit, the race up next. The last one went to Summer Point. It was Draft Central with the longest straight we have seen on the season, and it will remain the longest straight on the season for the iRacing Formula V series. The Jefferson Circuit, though, it's a lot shorter. It's a lot tighter, Lorenzo. What are your thoughts as we get set for the penultimate round on the season?
It's going to be an interesting one because Jefferson Circuit is not the easiest one for you to tackle. It's rather complicated. It has a certain of a smooth, especially the second sector of sorts. So it's going to be an interesting one. We normally see these kind of races being done in the Mazda, so why not in the V's? It's going to be wholly different.
It'll be a totally different race as well, but no doubt going to be an entertaining one at that. Well, for us here at RaceSpotTV, that is going to be it for tonight's presentation of RaceSpotTV Friday Night Primetime. I've been Ola Rempo with Lorenzo Bond beside in the commentary box, and Connor Maddock doing a great job as always behind the cameras for tonight's race. Another command to win for Ade Cobo Lopez. We'll see if he can repeat once more at the Summer Point Jefferson Circuit next week. We'll see you there.